Go ahead, Clint.
You talk about your, not the piranhas, they're not sharks yet, they're piranhas.
Well, they can't be sharks. They're this tall, so they have to be piranhas. We like to say, you know, that when kids go after a guy with a ball, it's like sharks to blood. But with this group, you can't. They're like piranhas just because they're midgets. But the thing that, you know, they're an awful lot of fun to coach. I think there's 7 true freshmen on that team right now. They're running down the field with a great passion to get to the ball. It's one of Coach Meyer's favorite units, and he's taking great pride in coaching those kids. And you know, we had 10 kickoffs, which is an awful lot of kickoffs, and their effort throughout every one of them is exciting. It's fun to watch. They're fun to coach. They're not perfect. They make a lot of mistakes, but they play really, really hard.
Could they be sharks by the end?
Well, I don't know if they're going to get a lot bigger, but, you know, I wouldn't want to jump in with a pool of piranhas myself. So, you know, you're one big shark or 11 piranhas, I think I'd take my chance to try to get rid of the shark, but I don't know. But they're going to be factors in games, and that's important.
All right, here, Austin. Austin Ward, ESPN.com.
Hi, Austin.
Is there any resistance from any of those guys, you know, to go out there and contribute on special teams to try and, you know, make a name for themselves? Anybody that, you know, didn't want to do this, they want to just be out there playing defense? You
would not survive here with resistance, Austin, to anything. And what I find with those kids is an eagerness to do something. You know, they don't have enough knowledge yet maybe to play on the offensive or defensive side of the ball quite yet. They're going to get there. But this is an area where they can really contribute. And so kids like Devin Bogart and Jamal Marcus and David Perkins and Armani Reeves, Najee Murray, I mean, they are just screaming down the field trying to do what they can to help the team. And that's one of the great things about college football. You know, you get to play those guys and you get to enjoy what they do. And they're a lot of fun. But no, there's no resistance.
Coach, give them a, for example, yesterday in the team meeting you were talking about, on one kickoff, ball sailing 60 yards, you have 3 of these guys that make contact inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, well, to me, that's one of the most impressive things. You know, every week we work on just the speed of the takeoff, getting down the field. We have Thursday races, which is a thing Coach Meyer has put in place for the kickoff team. We actually race down the field every Thursday. That unit, he stops the film on Friday. We pick the winner. It's a big deal. And when we go out on the field, you know, we're talking to them before they take the field, and we say it's Thursday races. That's what this is. So Saturday night, on 3 occasions, their returner has the ball, and we're making contact before he's reached the 10-yard line. So our guys have run 60 yards in the time that the returner has fielded the ball and gone 5. And so that's a real mission on our part to get down there, and Drew Basil's a big factor in that as well. The hang time and placement of the kick are critical, and he had a great night Saturday night. But that's what we're trying to do. We want to take that picture on film of where they are, how fast, who gets to the other team's 40-yard line first, and then where they are in relation to the returner when the returner begins to come forward on the field. Did that explain that, Jerry? Okay, thanks.
Tim? Tim May, Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Kerry. Who's the ringleader of that group? You know, right
Coach Meyer.
Then past that, once they deploy.
The guy that's starting to take a little bit of leadership with that group is Zach Domicone. So now you're talking about a senior guy who's surrounded by all these freshmen, you know, and they don't know what they don't know. And he's starting to gather them up before we go take the field. And you know, we've given them examples, and we're reminding them of things every time, and it's always the same things. You don't want to put too much on their plate. But he's starting to take some leadership with that group and inspire them and motivate them. And, you know, and when you can see it. I mean, if you're watching the game, after that tackle's made, there's 11 guys celebrating that thing. You know, Drew Basil's running down the field like this because he knows what's going to happen. So, but Zach Domicone, I would say, is the guy.
There's a movement afoot to eventually, some people think, take the kickoff out of football.
Yeah, I think it'll come out eventually, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you know, here you are, you're fired up about what you're seeing out there.
Oh, yeah.
Just Do you think it needs to come out of football, or is
Well, absolutely not. To me, it's one of the most exciting plays because there's so many things that can happen. And there are teams, to be perfectly honest with you, and we're playing some of them who've made a conscious decision they're going to kick the ball out of the end zone every time they can, let you have the ball on a 25 and go. And what we've decided is that we're going to try to keep you inside the 20 or the 15 and you know, follow the whole plan to win and put the ball down there as tight as we can. So we're intentionally not kicking it out of the end zone because we like the way those guys run down the field and cover.
Far left, Jared.
Hi, Jared. Hey, what's going on? I have a quick question about Bradley Roby.
There's a lot going on.
Wait, yeah.
I don't know if you know, it's 6-0 and
Literally.
it's pretty good.
When we met with Bradley last week, he described how he desperately wanted to get a pick in this game.
Yep.
And he talked about he had seen opportunities in tape study of particular routes, and he knew he could jump and he could get an interception. He described the first pick that he ran back as one of those plays. Does that underscore the value of tape study, in particular for cornerbacks, to be able to evaluate what a quarterback is going to try to do?
Absolutely. I think that every position studies film in different manners and different regards. For the kids that play the cornerback position, their film study is much more exclusive to the individuals they're going to be playing against, meaning the receivers and the quarterback. They don't need to get as bogged down in the details of all of the other things that are going around like a linebacker does. What they want to know is, how does that guy release off the line of scrimmage? What does he do in particular routes that give away those routes? What do they show? What does the quarterback do with the ball in his hands? How does that manifest itself into my opportunity to make a play? And so with this particular week, we studied that quarterback extremely hard, the things that he did, when he was going to throw the comeback or the curl route, where he was going to throw the ball, the flight of the ball, and in addition to that, what those receivers were doing when they were breaking those routes off. So a kid like Bradley, whose film study is extraordinary, hours and hours of film study, will know his opponent. Now, the guy's allowed to change what he does, but in the middle of a game, most guys follow the habits that they've developed over the course of a season or a lifetime. And those guys did the same thing. And if you watch those plays, you'll see Bradley flatten out his pedal. He understands the route that's coming. He's prepared for the ball when it comes. And then you got to finish those plays. You know, he dropped one a couple weeks ago, and he was just distraught about that. And he's a guy that wants to make plays and needs to make plays for our team to be successful. But the film study for a corner is different than the film study for the other guys on the team based on what we're going to do and how we're going to play that team this week. What he will do, what Bradley will do, what Travis will do, what Duran will do today is they'll come in tonight and say, Coach, how are we playing these guys this week? Are we going to be pressed? Are we going to be off? Are we going to be clouded? Whatever the coverage is that we think as a coaching staff we're going to use this week, and they'll start to look at those kind of things on film to prepare themselves for Saturday.
Rusty, front row.
Rusty Miller, AP.
Hi, Rusty.
Hi. There's two teams from Ohio that are ranked in the top 25.
Yeah.
Knowledge of both of them.
I do. Yeah.
I assume you still stay in touch with people.
My son is actually on the team, so I stay in close contact with the Bearcats.
So handicap the two teams for us and tell us what it's like to be a top 10 team, and also for Cincinnati to be in the top 25.
Yeah, Rusty, you ask a hard question now. Yeah, okay. Well, here's what I would say. First of all, that I'm extremely proud of those kids at Cincinnati. Those coaches are my friends, and that's my town. That's where I was born and raised. And for them to be in the top 25 again is fantastic. They're going to compete. They're going to compete for the Big East Championship, and they may get a chance to be in a BCS bowl game. And more power to them. Those are kids that I raised. You know, I recruited about 60% of that team. I love those kids, and I love those coaches, and I want nothing but the best for them, just like any of us, especially with our own children and having a son on the team. All of us want the best for our kids. So I hope they win every week. It's a different football team than the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Ohio State Buckeyes, we also hope win every week. And you asked what it feels like to coach a top 10 team. It's an extraordinary feeling. Saturday night for me, with that crowd and with the energy strategy level, you know, I've had the good fortune to coach in a Sugar Bowl and an Orange Bowl when I was with Cincinnati. Neither of those experiences compared to the game Saturday night, frankly, because of the number of people that were at the game, because it was a one-sided home crowd, because of, you know, the tradition of Ohio State and what that means. You know, I've been a lucky man. I've coached on a lot of really good teams here in high school and in college, but this experience right now is second to none. And you know, I told my guys after the game, let's just plan on not losing anymore. You know, I mean, this is pretty good stuff, and it is. And our kids are, you know, I think they're on a mission. Transition's hard, you know, for kids, for coaches, for everybody. This is the third time I've been through it with a new head coach and a first-year experience, and what I'm learning and what I'm watching is phenomenal. So this is really exciting. It's really exciting.
Front row, last question, Tim.
Yeah, Kerry, talking back about Bradley Roby again, he seems to carry himself with a pretty good bit of confidence.
Yeah.
And is that well deserved? But he only speaks to us. He seems to he seems to be pretty well thought out. He studied things. And did you notice that about him immediately?
Absolutely.
And how does that help a corner to have that kind of confidence yet have those study habits, I guess?
Well, the confidence, as all of us understand, confidence comes from knowledge. Knowledge that you can do the job that you set out to do, first and foremost. Knowledge of your opponent, which gives you unbelievable confidence and heading into a game. I don't want to coach a single corner ever who's not cocky, who doesn't have swagger, who doesn't have an arrogance, because the corner that doesn't is going to, everybody's going to get beat. They're going to catch a ball. They caught a couple on Bradley at Michigan State in press coverage. Now, we were in man coverage 27 snaps that game. They caught 2 balls on him, but that's going to happen. And the kid who puts his head down and decides, uh-oh, maybe I'm not as good as I think or whatever, is going to get beat again. You know, with those guys, what I try to stress to them is, if and when you ever get beat on a route, on a play, on a ball, well, they got lucky. Let's go play the next play. And that he believes that. He doesn't think he should ever get beat, and I don't think he should either. When he does get beat, there's usually a fundamental flaw in his technique. He got lazy. He allowed, you know, his mind to drift, to lose focus. That's where the film study comes from. So, you know, the reason that he's good is that God gave him a lot of ability level. But the reason that he's great is because he's taken what God has given him and he's mastered his craft. And he's much better. I want you to understand something now. He's much better than he was. Certainly when I got here in March, I can't speak to what he was last year, but I watched the film. He's much better. He's by no means a finished product. He's going to be a phenomenal player. But he's much better than he was. He's worked hard at his footwork, at his craft. He studies it. And frankly, I think the sky's the limit. I think Bradley's a first-round draft pick down the road. I really do.
Coach, thank you very much.
Okay, good. Thanks, guys. All right.